I'm Robin Sloan, and I'm the Principal Investigator of the Arts and Humanities Research Council funded project In Game International. So one of the main strands of our research is to produce applied demonstrators or game prototypes, working closely with our partners, Beano Studios in particular, and Outplay Entertainment as well. And the purpose of these demonstrators is to explore some of the more risky parts of UK-China collaboration, being led strongly by industry, but also our own underpinning research and interviewing professionals in both the UK and China. Two of the briefs that we've been working on most recently with both Beano Studios and Outplay Entertainment have been driven by our underpinning research. The first one with Beano Studios, we've been really interested in thinking about, well, how do you take a well-known British brand, the British IP, and bring that to a new market, in this case China, and particularly in bringing it into the gaming market. And that was largely the premise of the brief that we're working on with Beano. With Outplay Entertainment, we developed a brief that was focusing much more on the social aspects of gaming and also understanding the richness of the mobile game market in China, but the very distinct social media ecosystem, and trying to understand, well, how do we share knowledge between a company like Outplay Entertainment, well known for mobile games here in the UK, and bring that together with knowledge more about the mobile market in China, working with Chinese development students.
So the Playground Games brief was a bid from us to combine information we had from speaking to our readers and kids and also speaking to their parents. We know how much kids love games. We also know that parents have a concern about how much time kids are playing these games. So we wanted to deal with both of those things at the same time in this brief. And I think we've achieved that.
My name is Brett Murray. I'm a digital content editor with Beano Studios, and I was a mentor on the project. When it comes to working with a student team in terms of adapting a pre-existing and loved brand, like there's a lot that can happen in terms of student interpretation, the exploration of our characters and themes, and also applying what is a very well-known British cast to an international audience. I think ultimately what the team did in terms of designing the characters in a cute and friendly way, making sure that the Beano themes of fun and play, which are universal experiences no matter what country you're in, come through with the game, and that actually it serves as quite an effective depiction or adaptation of that experience of being a child, and that's what the brand represents.
We looked into children's media in both China and the UK. And the main sort of commonalities we found was sort of cute art styles inspired by anime, and also animals just as a general sort of theme.
So our game has 3 mini games within its core experience. Has red light, green light, charades, and a third mini game that we framed as Fox versus Chicken. This game is traditionally a Chinese playground game. With regulations on screen time, we had to consider how much time kids would be allotted to play on the device. And each mini game has around 2 to 3 minutes to play for each of these iterative quick experiences.
So the brief we set was to look at games with a social element when the Chinese kind of game marketplace. So for us, we obviously want a lot of social play elements in our games, and we've got a lot of expertise there. So for us, understanding how that might apply to such a massive marketplace like the China gaming market, where a lot of people play with mobile games, we were really interested in just seeing what we could apply to the Chinese market there, what we might be able to do in the future.
Our brief is to develop a social and cultural mobile games, and the main audience are Chinese players, but we also need to consider the international players. So our game is a social and cultural roguelike game in mobile games. Well, as we all know, the roguelike game is a hardcore game, and if you put social inside, it looks weird. So we make a leaderboard. You can see your rank and your friend's rank in the leaderboard. Yeah.
When I choose the art style, it's pixel art, and so I want to combine modern and Asian Chinese element. So for the Asian Chinese element, I choose Buddhism and some of the mystery gardens, this kind of map. And for the UK audience, my idea is to combine this Chinese element to the modern food and modern arcade culture together. So they might have all this familiar to me.
I think one of the main things that came up quite a lot during the project was the cultural differences between the Western market and China, and specifically how you would design a game based around the Chinese culture, and with how regulations and that kind of thing are focused around media, you might want to keep that in mind. And I think for our project, it was really eye-opening to see just what we would need to cut and what we would need to keep in Western games versus the Chinese game market. I think one of the main things that was a takeaway for this project was the students themselves had to do quite a lot of learning based on the Western market, because a lot of their experience in games is in China specifically. So we had a lot of back and forth about how you would implement a social game, how you might want to implement a leaderboard, that kind of thing. One of the key things that we do at Outplay is the Outplay Academy, which is kind of a process where we train and share skills and experience within the industry. So we try and teach and learn on the job, and we also try and share experiences with outside the industry. So potential graduates, I really want to just help other people in the industry go through that process and kind of work out their challenges and experiences themselves as well.
It was actually a really interesting part of the collaboration, working with the team and with In-Game International as a component of just figuring out where our overlapping expertises lay in terms of Beano knowing characters and knowing kids, and In-Game International having exposure to the international market and to consumers in other regions where iconography or behaviors or symbols or even tropes of what our kids would get into and what our characters would get into in terms of mischief and fun might be misconstrued or misinterpreted. So to have that overlap and have that exposure was actually quite a helpful part of just exchanging that insight.
For me, I think this project's just the beginning. It's reaffirmed the amazing talent literally across the road at Abertay, but it's also given me confidence that our characters and our storytelling meld beautifully with that. And I think by combining our creative talents, we can reach a larger audience than ever before. And I think China is absolutely a key part of that.
I think for us as an institution at Abertay, we're going to be doing a lot more of this kind of cross-cultural stuff. It's really important to us as an institution, but I think it's really useful to the students as well, that they get to have these kind of considerations and learn more and sort of grow as individuals as they start to think about how things are perceived internationally. Beyond just the simple economic argument of China being a big market, they get to grow and explore and learn new things that they wouldn't have encountered otherwise if we don't have this kind of emphasis on international relations.